Right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the only podcast in India where we bring a new founder on every episode to talk about their journey and their story of building a startup. And today we have with us Venkatesh Sundar, who is the co-founder of Indusface, which is a leading application security SaaS company that secures critical web, mobile, and API applications for 5,000 plus global companies. Hi, Venkatesh. Welcome to ELI.
Hi, Priya. Good to be here.
To start with, Venkatesh, would you be kind enough to give a background story of you? Where were you born? Where did you study? Where did you work? And what have you done over the years before entrepreneurship?
All right. Okay. Where I was born, I was born in India, the southern part of India, Chennai, but most of my formative years and growing up years has been in Mumbai and Pune.
Hmm.
Most of my early work years has been in North America, US, and Canada. And then, um, yeah, in the 2007, 2008 time frame, Apna Desh Mahan kind of patriotism struck me, and then I wanted to come back to India. I
Hmm.
still came back to India working for the same North American company to drive the business for Asia Pac for that company.
Hmm.
Um, and in that process, one thing led to another, and a combination of many factors uh, got me in touch with my co-founder Ashish Tandon, and we started our journey of building the product at Indusface. And I joined as a co-founder and partner for the product journey at Indusface. So that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Got it. Can you tell us a bit about the background story of Induspace? Like, was it always a cybersecurity company? What was the premise of the initial days? What were you trying to build?
Yeah. So Indusface as a company has been in existence since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And remember when I came back from just when I gave my introduction, when I came back from the US to India, I was responsible for the APAC business. And Indusface, the consulting version or the consulting part of the Indusface, which was founded in 2004, I got in touch with Ashish Tandon and we worked together to do a lot of enterprise deals for a
Mm-hmm.
North American product company in India. So that's when I worked with Ashish. So it has always been in cybersecurity. There's a little bit of interesting story behind how Indusface started.
Okay.
Uh, Ashish Tandon was actually a cricketer,
Mm-hmm.
a Ranji Trophy player. And in fact, if you go and search in cricinfo.com and do a search of Ashish Tandon, there is a profile of
Mm-hmm.
Ashish Tandon as a fast bowler. He's played about 6, 7 matches, taken a few wickets. He was
Okay.
a fast bowler. In fact, the first debut ball he bowled was to Sachin Tendulkar.
Wow.
And Zahir Khan was his replacement for the Ranji Trophy for Vadodara. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm a mad cricket fan. In fact, I'm a sports fan as an audience, and uh, part of my uh, pastime and hobby, things I do without anybody asking. And this was way back in 2004, 2005, where I
Mm-hmm.
used to maintain stats of Tendulkar's and Roger Federer's and Nadal's early days of Roger Federer and Nadal when they were doing. And I was a stats junkie when it comes to sports and I
Mm-hmm.
used to watch and all the sports matches. It was good to actually have a person who was actually rubbed shoulder to shoulder with some of the peoples I aspire to just watch on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing business with Ashish for my North American company. We just clicked, and then one thing led to another, and Ashish told me that one day he will make sure I get to meet Sachin Tendulkar.
Mm-hmm.
So that clicked, and then that was a deal was signed, and then I joined, and I had the product expertise. He had the regional expertise and sales expertise. We joined hands, and we built the product. So yeah, to answer your question, Space has been a cybersecurity consulting company to begin with and pivoted and transformed as coinciding with when I came in to be 100% product company focused on cybersecurity products.
Understood. And when you say cybersecurity products, I think it's a vast field, lot of different use cases. Which of the use cases are you solving for as a company?
Again, the journey had multiple points in time where we took this broad idea and pivoted into a very narrow focus in terms of our specialty, but on a large addressable market. We are focused on application security,
Mm-hmm.
public facing applications and API. So if you look at the entire digital economy, AI, LLM, internet era, everything
Mm-hmm.
centered to all the businesses and the digitization is powered by applications. And those applications need security. And
Mm-hmm.
those security problems is what we take care of through a combination of our product and service. And to make dumb it down a little bit further or bringing the cookie to the bottom of the shelf instead of saying the term dumb it down, what we do is we identify vulnerabilities on those public facing apps. We make sure those vulnerabilities, risks, exploitable risks are instantly mitigated. And then we manage it on a continuous basis based on as the application itself evolves, the threat landscape evolves, new zero-day threats, integration points on the application. We
Mm-hmm.
make sure on a continuous basis the assessment and the protection happens and the application is secured, and we take care of it. And if you look at the journey when we started off and solving the application security problem, our version one product was actually just identifying the risks, which was basically a risk assessment service that we built. Great product, delightful customers, but we were not able to make tons and tons of money. It was a great product, and a lot of upfront investment had gone into the product. Um, while we were trying to figure out a model for scaling, uh, Trend Micro acquired the product.
Okay.
So that was actually our first milestone in 2012, 2013, where our version one, two, three product that we built focused only on risk assessment was acquired by Trend Micro. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that sort of gave us a lot of confidence in terms of, yes, being in India, where that this was way back in 2008 to 2012 timeframe, right? It was India was known for services as the place where tech services and or large MNCs were opening up offices here to build the product. But actually, to build a product ground up from scratch and scale it up and actually have it acquired by a North American company was a huge testimony and kind of a milestone in terms of giving us the confidence that, yeah, we can take a concept, ideate on this, translate it into a product, build a world-class product, and have it acquired by a world-class company. And it
Mm-hmm.
also gives a lot of cushion of cash, which allowed us to survive and also put it back into do something which was way much bigger and better. And learn from that initial journey, we found out that just risk assessment was not enough. We also needed to up the game and also do risk protection and risk management on a continuous basis. And that concept is what gave birth to our current version of the product and current product portfolio, AppTrana, which got launched in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So, because after the Trend Micro acquisition, we had the luxury of cash and the ability to make sure the minimum viable product gets done with significant and compelling differentiation against some of the big players in the market. And we were able to do that. And fast forward to that from now, we have 5,000 plus customers, 95 plus countries. We have been able to raise funds from external institutional investors like Tata Capital.
Okay.
And business is profitable, growing. NRR is greater than 110, 150%. Yeah, so self-sustaining, we are well way past the survival and cash flow crunch stages. We are now sitting on a pile of cash, sitting on a very healthy, large, recurring revenue base. And then how do we take this and grow it further is what I spend my shower cycles on.
Got it, got it. Curious to know one thing, like you rightly mentioned, India was not well known for things like cybersecurity. I think even today also, there are countries like Israel and US, lot of cybersecurity companies come from these markets. How, when you go and try to sell to global customers, how do they perceive you being a Indian player? Do they welcome you, or do they, say, probably, scrutinize you? thinking that yeah, the product might be not up to the mark? What has been your experience?
See, it is not just cybersecurity. Way back in 2008, 2009, how many products were being built and innovated from India? You could
Mm,
actually literally count them in your hands. We had the Infosys and the TCS and the Wipros and the BPM and the BPO waves that was happening. And we also had the Microsofts and the Googles and the Facebooks and all these people opening up their development centers in India.
mm,
But actually having a product where we had Zoho and Freshworks and all these other big companies which are now multi-billion dollar valuation and more importantly, multi-billion dollar revenue too,
right.
uh, did not exist then. So let apart cybersecurity as a category,
Mm-hmm.
software products in general being built, innovated, and globally scaled from India was non or very less in that time. So
Mm-hmm.
in fact, it was the next wave of transformation that was happening in the tech ecosystem in India. I mean, the first wave was basically just low cost outsourcing,
Mm-hmm.
the tech talent pool that India had, large graduates, and so low cost outsourcing of critical business processing. And the
Okay.
second next wave was not just back end work, office work being outsourced to India, but also critical product development works and IP being built out of India, which is when we saw the Googles and the Microsofts coming and opening up their dev centers here.
Mm,
Um, but the third wave is actually, which is when the VC ecosystem and everything was also building up and getting exciting in India. Uh,
mm,
and we were in that stage where the actual product, where the innovation and the software product was being innovated, built in India and scaled globally. And we were in the early stages of that wave. And within that wave, cybersecurity was a very, very further narrow niche. But sometimes when you start and you get fixated with solving a problem, you don't worry about Israel and what how people perceive. You have
mm.
that fire and hunger to say, yes, we can do a world class, build a world class product. And
Okay.
once the world class product, the confidence with which you are able to articulate the problems you're solving and actually seeing that validated with customer adoption is how you become the next Israel or maybe the next. I mean, I don't even want to compare with Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
India will have its own story through the talent pool and the ecosystem that we are building.
Right.
So we were happy to be part of the early journey and do our bit. So uh, I how people perceive is purely a function of how you perceive yourself and how confident you are in solving the problem. And if you do that well enough, then the perception problem, no matter whether you are from India or Timbuktu or Peru or Brazil or wherever, it will take care
Mm,
of itself.
got it. When you speak of being a world-class product, I think when you build a world-class product, you also sort of tend to send a one-size-fits-all product to everybody across the globe. Is that how you go to market, or are there any specific markets that you are going after? Where you've been seeing a lot of success.
No, I think, see, it's very, very simple. When you start with building a product, I mean, the concept of MVP and product market fit. I mean, you have this vision of all the things and how big is the market, what is the ability for it to grow and become the next billion-dollar company. All those things is what excites you because you obviously get want to get started by solving a problem and see that the problem is big enough to
Mm-hmm.
scale it up. But to get started, it has to be what is it you're building that what is the minimum viable product version one which
Mm-hmm.
has got a compelling enough feature or pain point that you're solving better than anybody else
Mm-hmm.
and get the product market fit with the next 10 to 20 to 30 to 100 customers
Mm.
actually using it A and then B paying for it.
Okay.
So while you have this grand vision of markets and geographies and customer base and segments and everything, when you start the day zero, the 0 to 1 journey is
Mm.
basically just two things. You build something that is compelling enough, and then you go and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times the sales will not happen. Every conversation you have is a feedback loop to keep getting this better and better and better. And then you start getting your first customer, second customer, third customer, 10 customers come in. And then you start saying, okay, fine, what are the themes that we are seeing? See, at the end of the day, it's action that drives information as opposed to market research.
Mm-hmm.
So start up your own action and your own hustle to get the right thing going out and get the feedback and being nimble enough to act on those feedback and iterate and get it working and solve the customer problem becomes one of the best market study and insights you get, and staying the course as opposed to giving up through many rejections that will keep happening.
Okay.
But that rejections actually pulls you up to do better, to solve the problem. So I think there is no silver bullet or secret formula here, right? It's basically staying the course, hungry enough, build the product, sell it, learn from it. Every
Good.
con- and then once the flywheel starts going, and then look at building the team, how do we scale it up, and then every versions of the product apply the same MVP product market fit concept, uh, as you build your version 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, as you build the product.
Got it. But yeah, I mean, speaking of product market fitment, once your product sees a lot of traction and action in the market, you tend to also sort of build cohorts of users who find your product really interesting, who find a lot of value in your product. So that can be from a particular industry or from a particular size of the company. Let's say your product is good for mid market or enterprises, so on. So, what has been what are the commonalities of your customer base? From which industry are they from? From which category of market are they from?
See, when we started, we found out that anybody who has a critical applications will need security and management of the security for those applications.
Mm-hmm.
And applications are vertical neutral. You look at around, from a cab riding platform to a e-commerce platform. Forget that even non-traditional brick and mortar businesses
Mm-hmm.
will have public facing apps for their supply chain management, procurement. Everything is driven by some application. So anybody who has a critical application that drives critical workflow and business logic of those applications will need security. So from that sense, we are horizontal. We are horizontal. Cybersecurity for applications is horizontal. But you touched on a very important point, especially when you get started. It's important to identify, based on what you are building, your minimum viable product and product market fit,
Mm-hmm.
who will have the most compelling must have reason to want and come to you over
Right.
anybody else. And that defines your ideal customer profile. And to us, that ideal customer profile was driven by people who value compliance very highly,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like operate under a regulatory framework and have compliance very high compliance need, who are stretched for talent, in-house talent, to meet those compliance needs,
Mm-hmm.
and need to have a product which will be affordable for them to address those pain points, right?
Okay.
So when we went through this gamut of all the areas that we can go through, we had to zone in and nail down on what will be my definition of an ideal customer profile, where I have the highest chance to win,
Mm.
and build your minimum viable product to solve their pain point better than anybody else,
Okay.
and then build from that. So in our case, it was actually financial institutions. There
Mm-hmm.
was, and the SaaS revolution was just beginning. Those things were powered by tech apps, and those tech apps were actually dealing with customer data, and
Right.
their customers were asking those companies questions on what is it you're doing about security.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and those people, especially those early stage mid market customers or early enterprises, uh, uh, did not have the budget to go after the existing leaders who are in the Gartner top right at
Mm-hmm.
those times. But surprisingly, we went with this thesis and we went with this ideal customer profile definition, and we went after all these customers who fit into our hypothesis. But we
Mm-hmm.
got the largest bank, the largest private bank.
Wow.
We got the largest PSU bank.
Mm-hmm.
We got the largest visa appointment booking services. I mean, we
Okay.
got some of the best in the industry as our first few customers. because what we had has I mean, so we got a little bit lucky, you can see, and our product was delightful enough to solve that pain point,
Mm-hmm.
and they trusted us. And those referenceability created a flywheel of getting more and more customers on that vertical. But even though your market is horizontal, you have to really focus and zone in on those ideal customer profile, and
Mm-hmm.
route to get to those ideal customer profile is going to be very critical for establishing your product market fit in an appropriate way. In the early stages, the route to market is direct, because there is
Got
no
it.
way you can look at any other route to market uh, other than the founders themselves going and selling and gaining the trust and demonstrating the product and getting it adopted, and then getting them to see the value, and then get them to pay, right?
Right.
Once you have that established, now to scale it up, you can take a channel strategy, you can take a scale up through a direct sales strategy in terms of adding more salespeople, sponsoring events, or
Mm.
you can take a route to market strategy through digital inbound requests, and a combination of all these three things as well.
Got it. Got it. And one thing I have observed with all the SaaS companies is when they start out initially, they find a lot of fitment in particular industries. So they tend to, build their platform around those industries. And eventually, when they expand into other industries, they have to have a common platform that can be applied to all industries, plus some customization for a particular industry. So can you tell us like what every industry would have their own requirement and own use cases? How have you, been building your platform around each of the industry nuances plus a generic platform which would, fit all sizes?
Yeah, so I think to give you an example, if you look at banking, one of their compelling reasons was they have a quarterly RBI audit for their
Mm.
applications. And to make sure that they get a clean report of those RBI audit was their compelling reason. So
Right.
our entire use case in terms of the value proposition was built around solving that problem for the customer.
Mhm.
But we were very clear that even though that becomes a value proposition in that sales, our platform that we are building in terms of solving the problem was securing the application on a continuous basis, right?
Mhm.
So that becomes the common layer where any public facing applications and APIs, we do risk assessment, risk protection, and risk management on a continuous basis. And on top of this, we build specific use cases that are industry specific. So compliance and RBI audit specific use cases. It's the same product, but packaged with the right data sheets and the right set of use cases, and maybe some additional agents and tools that we build for solving that use case better for them. But
Mhm.
every vertical we go to, like for example, HIPAA is for healthcare industries.
Right.
Uh, Sales conversational trust became the key enabler, not compliance. Because what happens is the SaaS tech companies, when they are dealing with their customers, the customer suddenly comes and asks them, what about security? What is our vulnerability management program? And they cannot just say, trust me. They'll have to show a third party report. And we ended up becoming the trusted third party report that they can give access to
Right.
their customers to gain the trust of they are taking care of their customers' data proactively for them to enable their sales. So these are all different use cases that get built. And a lot of it is basically taking the same product, building some specific use cases and agents to solve a particular vertical, but broadly it is the right messaging, right use cases, right vertical specific channel and sales pitches for them to understand and to some extent even reimagine
Mhm.
what they did not adapt up until that point of time. So,
Got it.
but each one of this journey, you have started the hypothesis, and though you have your common platform, you cannot just assume that because you crack product market fit here, you're going to crack product market fit everywhere else. There
Mhm.
is going to be that validation that needs to happen in every cycle, not just on day zero and the version one version that is shipped.
Got it.
That concept of validating your minimum viable product based fundamentals in terms of how you prioritize your feature work in the product, and then making sure that whatever you're building is checking off and ticking the product market fit hypothesis. And to me, that hypothesis is the customer actually adopting it and paying for it. And third is actually being delighted advocate of your service, which is what the three struggle: adopting it, paying for it, and then becoming an advocate, referrals and
Right.
right, and then giving you reviews. And that's how we got into Gartner. doing this
Got
consistently at every stage of your product,
got it.
being fixated to do it is the
Mhm.
only formula for success.
Got it. You spoke about reviews, so I was actually observing the reviews left by real customers on different platforms like G2, Gartner, and so on. I found that very positive reviews came out of on those platforms, which is really rare for a SaaS companies. Every SaaS company has a love hate relationship with the customer. Yes, the customers love it, but there would be one segment of customer who would always compare it to other applications. Probably have some negative experience on the platform. So tell us, how have you been, achieving such a great success with the customers, getting a lot of positive recommendation?
Being fixated with the product, as simple as that, and
Mhm.
learning from customer feedback and acting on it. In fact, some of our greatest customer advocacy has come from the biggest pain and issues the customer had with us. Every
Mhm.
product has issues. Every business cycle will go through something where you screw up.
Right.
But how you deal with those situations and incidences authentically, honestly, transparently, and visibly show that you're acting on it to improve it and make it better for the customer is how you build the trust, and those trust is gets reflected on those reviews. Having said that, we are not perfect, but I mean, I don't want to. Uh, there is a saying, nazar nahi lagna chahiye, but we
Mhm.
actually, even though there is a selection bias to some extent in the kind of reviews, our customer success management program goes ahead and gets the review source from happy customers. Even
Mhm.
though there is some element of success, selection bias in the process of reviews, we are the only vendor um, who have not just the highest product rating and the highest support rating, but actually across categories, not just in the category we are in. We have 100% customer
Yes.
recommendation rating.
Yeah.
That's just unprecedented in Gartner, not just in the application security category, but across categories to have, and it's not just one or two reviews. I mean, you have 100% recommendation rating with three reviews, three happy
Mhm.
customers.
Yeah.
Across 250 plus reviews, at the end of the survey, there is a question that asks on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to rate them? 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. All 250 of them has said they will recommend us,
Yeah.
which is which 100% is a tough thing, but it's still maintained. I mean, all it takes is one disgruntled customer to give a bad review. But yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. So to answer your question, it's again there is no, again no silver bullet. It's basically the culture of customer obsession that you build in. In fact, one of my favorite line when we were bootstrapped for the longest of time, we did not raise a third party fund, right? Do you have investors? And I used to say yes. We have about 100 investors when we had 100 customers. The
Mhm.
customer paying us is our investment. They are investing their time, their money on us, and we have to deliver the results to them in terms of a delightful product. And that
Mhm.
is the engagement we got into. And then to do more of it so that the next 1,000 customers who don't even know we exist
Mhm.
because we are not able to reach them is where we take external institutional funding to scale it up. But in terms of the core business and in terms of the core product value, it is all product, sales, and customers. That's all. And
Got it.
do this well, consistently hearing to the customers, being authentic in terms of the way you respond to their
Mhm.
feedback, screw ups, good things, bad things, and do it consistently. The results like what we have will happen.
Yeah, I think this is so rare. Probably for the first time, I'm seeing 100% customer recommendation for a product. Having said that, would love to hear about your flagship product called Trana. I think it is that one product which every customer from any industry, from any size of the company, can take and implement, plug and play, so that at least the bare minimum of the security and compliance is taken care of. So tell us, what sort of individual components have you packaged together, and what is this product about? Yeah.
Pieces of AppTrana, like there are five pieces in it. So there is discovery, which is basically an inventory of your public facing assets.
Hmm.
It might seem like, oh, every business owner should know an inventory of their public facing assets on API and websites, right? But uh, with this agile development and large teams and large enterprises, it's a big problem because there are many moving parts, different software development life cycles and release cycles that people, different teams work on. So having an inventory of here are your public facing websites and assets that can be accessed by anybody from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a discovery service. The second piece is risk assessment of those public facing websites and APIs and apps, which is, and to do it frequently, continuously, and deeply.
Okay.
Right. So we have an automated service which will do risk assessment on a continuous basis. The third piece is not just risk assessment, but to mitigate those risks instantaneously. So more than
Mhm.
80% of the risks that we identify get mitigated instantly in real time. The balance, whatever cannot be, we make sure that we have an SLA to make sure they get mitigated within 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
which is a Swift comply feature. That is the risk protection.
Right.
And lastly is the risk management on a continuous. This entire 1, 2, 3 is a continuous cycle with somebody, a 24 by 7 subject matter experts and security team that is managing it, providing actionable insights and reports and things to the customer. And the
Mm-hmm.
last piece is acceleration, website acceleration. We partner with third-party CDN and edge computing platform vendors to make sure not only do we take care of security, but also the performance of the application will be enhanced
Mm-hmm.
for any consumer of that web application. So these are the 5 pieces. We piece all of them together under one umbrella with a 24 by 7 managed service that we offer to the customer at a disruptive value-based pricing that we provide.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Nobody is doing all 5 under one umbrella. So that's our claim to glory, and that's what has evolved to become the current version of the minimum viable product that we have, which is giving us a right to win.
Got it. Uh, Tell us about how AI has been probably being a disrupted in your industry in cybersecurity, because I think the way I see it, AI is both a enabler and disruptor. It is helping cybersecurity companies to come up with new features, new detection models to detect and prevent and predict cybersecurity. But at the same time, it is also accessible to hackers and the cyber attackers to use new techniques to hack into even the cloud and servers of the companies, steal data, steal bitcoins, and so on. uh, so it's a double-edged sword. How have you been experiencing the AI wave as a cybersecurity company?
So, I mean, right now, AI is now not a differentiation. It is a foundational and is a, it's a foundational element for any company to survive.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer a differentiation saying that I use AI,
Okay.
right? AI broadly everybody has to use. The differentiation is going to come on based on the data, the context, the reinforcement learning that you're building specific to the problem that you're solving to the
Mm-hmm.
customer is where the differentiation and the ability to sustain the differentiation is going to come from. But I will break down your question into 2 parts. One is how are we using AI for what we do, AI for security, and second is security for AI.
Mm-hmm.
Security for AI is a area which is a huge opportunity because what is happening right now is with vibe coding in place,
Right.
the somebody is prompting their way to glory to take and launch an app without even understanding how they were stitched together and pieced together to get published.
Yeah.
Security for those AI-driven apps and the threat vectors and the new kind of threat vectors, I suppose is a huge area and a huge opportunity for us. In fact, what we do right now, and given the application focus that we already are way ahead in terms of solving the problem. But the other area is AI for security, which is what all we do, like the threat hunting, the zero-day vulnerability research, or providing an ability for the customer to take the power of our subject matter experts' ability to correlate things and come up with an insights. We can also give that power to the customers in terms of use cases and build many layers of agents and specific use cases, vertical specific, customer specific, and build those layers on top of our products using AI is something that uh, every company, and we are investing heavily on it as well, and we will do it. And our advantage is going to be we stop a few billion attacks every month,
Mm-hmm.
and we have trillion plus traffic that we process every month. So we
Right.
have context of good data, bad attack data, probe data, slice and dice based on verticals, countries, regions, origin sources from where it is coming up. All this data, not just specific to customers, but across customers, aggregated to be a learning engine that can be translated into specific use case insights to the
Mm-hmm.
customer in terms of actionables, in terms of their own SIEM or MDR products where they can integrate to for actionable telemetry. And
Mm-hmm.
then based on their usage and actionable, use that as a feedback back into a reinforcement learning of our AI engine getting better and better in terms of delivering value, automatically becomes our mode, because this data and providing an AI context on top of this data
Mm-hmm.
using GPT models. I mean, we don't want to reinvent GPT, right? We are going to build on top of those GPT models
Right.
uh, to be able to provide this value to customers. But our moat is going to be the data that we have built. But to sustain that moat, the learning and the reinforcement learning that we build on top of that data and doing it better and better
Mm-hmm.
is going to give us an unfair advantage. So even if a customer leaves tomorrow, they leave the product, they keep the data,
Mm-hmm.
but the learning and the context they got over a period of time, it will take them a few years to build it again if they go to somebody else.
Right.
And that automatically becomes unfair advantage. So it's no longer product or algorithms that you build. It's going to be data and the data models and how we are using AI in a context sensitive manner to
Mm-hmm.
solve a particular problem to a customer better than anybody else. And how do we sustain that advantage through feedback loops of learning is what is going to be the differentiator. So everybody has to create their own AI story, not just in generic terms, but in terms of specific to the problems. How do we have a data context that you can bring to life to do something better for the customer than just a chat GPT model or something else on top of it? So I think we have an unfair advantage given the context that we have built over many, many years. And because of the five pieces that I talked about, from discovery to assessment to protection to management to compliance, each one of these things and use cases become sensors and inputs and context for us to build a learning engine to build even more enriched use cases and higher value to customers.
Got it. All right. So I have just one last question for you before we close. So in my experience, companies tend to think about cybersecurity only after they become a certain size, probably about 1,000 employees. That's when companies hire a CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, and probably only after becoming 100-employee company, they think about probably using platforms like yours for cybersecurity. But I think the security get compromised from day one, right? And nowadays, since the size of the companies are reducing, so there are companies with just one person, 10 people company, and these companies are most vulnerable to cyber attacks. How would you advise the founders of the future to go about cybersecurity?
I mean, cybersecurity has to be foundational. It cannot be an afterthought. In fact, a lot of the customer journey and adoption has come from what I call three oh shit moments,
Mhm.
right? In fact, the first one is one of their customers asking them, uh, oh, what do you do about your vulnerability management program? Or suddenly a compliance tick coming to them and saying that, oh, we need to meet this compliance. And that's when they start left scratching their head. Oh my God, it's enabling. It is this. If I solve this problem, it is enabling my sale. If I don't solve this problem, it's going to be questions that is going to be a barrier for my sales. So that is the first oh shit movement. Then they go
Mhm.
ahead and try to do something cheap and dirty to just get a check mark for solving the problem. But that is not enough because the application keeps changing and they have to keep doing this thing again and again and again. So they hit
Mhm.
the second oh shit moment and they realize, oh my God, again, I need somebody to solve this on a continuous basis. So I need a managed service provider. So they go ahead and take a services firm to manage it or go against with some established players, but they give a bill or a purchase or a quote which makes the small companies drop their jaws, saying that I cannot afford that,
Mm.
right? So that's an untapped market. When they hit the third oh shit movement, when they realize that I need fully managed 24 by 7 service security for my existence, uh, generally that affordability happens only after they reach a certain size. And which is why you're now seeing adoption happening only after a company reaches a certain size,
Yeah.
not because that is when they need cybersecurity, because that is when they are able to afford it. And the segment before that is underserved and hence a huge risks and hence becomes the biggest target for hackers and attackers. And because it's easy sitting duck to
Yeah.
be able to hold them ransom and do the attack. So I think that's a pain point that we are well poised to solve because we make it way more easy. In fact, the smaller the company, the more stretched they are on time, and the higher the premium they are able to pay for a managed service or a managed security service for somebody, right? And
Right.
whereas the larger company will have their own internal security SOC team, and they look at any kind of managed service more as a labor arbitrage or a value addition, I mean, additional set of
Yeah.
people looking at it, right? So that's an untapped area. So to answer your question, they hit a certain size because that when it becomes affordable to them. And anything before that, because it is non-affordable, is an underserviced market. In fact, McKinsey came out with a report.
Mm-hmm.
The SMB segment in US alone, the cybersecurity SMB underserved segment in US alone is a multi-trillion dollar market.
Okay.
And within that, a piece of application security is a $200 billion market.
Mm-hmm.
So I think VCISO is one example. Those people cannot afford a CISO on their own. So you have virtual CISO services being catered to by IT service providers to make it affordable for them. And these VICISO services trying to stack together a piece of products and tools like us to take it to
Mm.
them and serve it. So anyway, that's my way. I can keep talking about it forever because in my current role, I've been living and breathing this ecosystem of the underserved market in the US, especially for the
Mm.
last year and a half. So I can you had to stop me here because I can talk about it for like few hours.
Understood. All right. So on this note, we will close the session. Thanks for joining us, Venkatesh. Was pleasure to speak with you. And I think this is very informational, very educational for not just me, for everybody out there who are probably not thinking about cybersecurity, or even if thinking about it, they don't know how where to start with. So I think your platform can be a platform of choice for even the smallest of the companies. And yeah, I think kudos to you for building this platform, and my best wishes.
Great, thank you, and I think pleasure having you, and all the best for your additional podcast. And try to keep getting people and create an ecosystem of founders inspiring other founders to do more.
Thank you. Thank you, Venky. Have a good day.